All right, it is finally here, ladies and gentlemen. Championship weekend is upon us. We have just 4 teams remaining, all fighting for their chance to hoist the Lombardi Trophy in 2 weeks in Arizona. It should be a fantastic weekend of games. It is kind of sad. We only have 3 NFL games left, but 2 this weekend. We got 4 heavyweight juggernauts. These are clearly, I think, the 4 best teams left. They've been in my top 4, my power rankings throughout the season, most of the season. These should be great, fantastic games. Let's get this thing kicked off with the game first, the NFC Championship game at Lincoln Financial Field, 3 o'clock Eastern Time. We're kicking it off on Fox. Let's get into it. Okay, 49ers at the Eagles. These have been your 2 best teams in the NFC, it feels like, for a long time. Niners come in on a 12-game winning streak. That's tied for the longest in franchise history, and it thought the season was over. I mean, Jimmy G went down. It was all hands on deck. Who's going to play quarterback? Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy said, "Not so fast. I got this, boys." He is 7-0 as a starter. He's been absolutely fantastic for them. Now, he has come down a little bit in the last 2 games in the playoffs. He does have a rookie record, though, most pass attempts without an interception in the playoffs by far. So he's doing a great job of taking care of the ball. The problem is Dallas's defense did a great job against this Niners offense last week. They took away the run game. They forced them into awkward situations. They scored just 1 touchdown last week against the Dallas D. Now, Dallas's D has been very up and down and roller coastery, so I would expect more from them. They did a really good job of getting the ball into the red zone, but that's where this team struggles. They're towards the bottom of the league in red zone percentage, and they're kind of middle when it comes to third down percentage, so they don't do a great job of staying on the field, and they don't do a great job of converting into touchdowns. When you look at the other side, though, the Eagles defense, pretty good. They're kind of average in the red zone touchdown, but pretty good on third down. This is where a matchup that's going to be key. You got to win those 2 areas. When you get this late into the season, you got to take every advantage you get. I think this is a really interesting game because Philly's run defense has struggled a little bit. They've been better towards the back end, but they were really struggled, and the Niners are going to have to pound the rock, lean on this run game to get receivers open because the Eagles secondary is towards the best in the biz. They're towards the top in pass yards allowed. They shut people down. So these wide open receivers are going to be less likely, and that's where I think this team can struggle. Brock Purdy's doing a good job of hitting wide open guys, but guys are wide freaking open. I don't know if we're going to see that on Sunday. And he really kind of struggled with, now Micah Parsons is a game wrecker. He is a disruptor. The Eagles don't have any guy like that, but they have 4 guys on the defensive line that each have 10+ sacks, and this is where Purdy struggled. Like I said, when he had to roll out of the pocket, he didn't throw the ball well. He didn't make necessarily great decisions either. He was vulnerable to getting sacked or to throwing pickable balls, and I think that's where the Eagles can take advantage here. There's no single game wrecker, so they might do a better job with that, but they're coming at you from every which way, all 4 spots on the defensive line, and that is a problem for them offensively. Now let's flip it around. Let's look at the Eagles offense. This is a team led by a healthy Jalen Hurts last week that absolutely dominated the Giants. They ran the ball right down their throat. This is where this team has thrived all season, pounding the rock. The Niners aren't going to let you do that. This is one of the best run defenses in the NFL. They are really, really good at stopping the run. They make things really difficult. Where they are vulnerable is on the back end in passing yards. They tend to give up a good amount of passing yards, which is where they struggle, and it's not necessarily the Eagles' best spot. You know, Eagles do a good job of pounding the rock and then hitting that play action, getting the ball down the field to Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown in a one-on-one look. That's what they're going to have to do. The run game just isn't necessarily going to be there. Fred Warner, one of the best in the biz, he's not going to let tight end Goddard kick him out and go for a 60-yard touchdown. That's just not going to happen for them. So this is going to be pertinent on Jalen Hurts to be able to buy time, roll out of the pocket. There is going to be a nice little pass rush. Obviously, Nick Bosa is an absolute monster on there. Not much from anybody else. They're only 10th in sacks when you have a guy who leads the NFL in sacks. You think they'd be a little higher as a team. So if he can move out of the pocket, get those one-on-one and vulnerable looks on the back end you see from San Francisco and take advantage of them, that is going to be a problem. He has been great his last 20 games. He's 18-2 as a starter over the last 2 seasons, or the last 20 games. And he's 14-1 this year as a starter, might be 15-1. So he has been really good. There were a million question marks, I know, all about Jalen Hurts, but he's shown he's developed into a very good thrower of the football. That's what's most impressive to me about him this season. He is slinging the rock. He throws a good ball. He throws a very catchable ball, and he's very good at making decisions. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's careful with the rock. The only time he gets himself into trouble is when he tries to do too much. Now, that could definitely happen against the Niners defense that might get some pressure, but Lane Johnson's healthy. That is huge. Jason Kelce anchoring the center spot. These are all big adds. The question is, would Philly be healthy enough coming into this game? They're a 1.5 favorite. I think that's going to stick. I tend to lean towards the Eagles this weekend. I think they're a much more complete football team than the Niners. The Niners have had a really good run, but we're going to start to see the ceiling on Brock Purdy. Don't get me wrong, he's been really good. I think he could be their starting quarterback moving forward. In fact, I think he should be their starting quarterback moving forward. But a team that's not going to be able to run the ball, I think, dominantly. They'll do a good job running the ball, but they're not going to get the separation with their wide receivers that they've normally had. Kyle Shanahan's going to have to call himself a gem, which he absolutely can do. He's an elite play caller. He does a really good job at adjusting in the second half. Problem is, he tends to struggle when he has a lead. So you almost feel like you'd be better if you're San Francisco, if you're like maybe up only 3 points or maybe losing the game. And that's when Shanahan tends to dial it in. I'm not necessarily sure how good Nick Sirianni is as a head coach. A lot of people like him. A lot of people hate him. I'm not really so sure about it. So if he's not a disaster in the second half with the adjustments, the Eagles, I think, are going to be in a really good spot to take care of this game. It's a road hostile environment. One NFL head coach said it's awful. It's like hell playing in a playoff game for 4 hours in Philadelphia, which I totally get. This is the first true, real road crowd Brock Purdy's going to have to deal with. The first this playoff. I think he gets a little frazzled. The beverages will be flowing at the link. There might be a battery or two thrown onto the field. Who knows? They're just a lovely people over there in Philadelphia. I think all that said, Eagles are going to get this thing done. They're going to be heading to Arizona. They were the best team in the NFC all season, pretty much from start to finish. They struggled when Hurts went down. Hurts seems to be 100%. He's ready to go. It's just too much of a complete football team, whereas the Niners are very run reliant, little weak at the quarterback position. So I like the Eagles coming out of the NFC. Okay, let's get to our second game of the evening. It's the Bengals at the Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium, 6:30 Eastern kickoff, 5:30 local time at Arrowhead. This is a rematch of a game already played in the regular season, and I'm loving this game. These two teams do not like each other. There's been a lot of shit talking this week. We're talking Bengals saying, "We'll see you at Burrowhead." Chiefs saying nothing impresses them about their offense. It's a lot of good old-fashioned hate. That's what I love to see. That's what brings this game to the next level. But let's look at it from a standpoint of a matchup. Let's actually get into it. We got two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. In fact, I'm comfortable saying this is quarterback one, this is quarterback two, Pat Mahomes and Joe Burrow. Now, Mahomes is a little banged up. The ankle was a concern. We saw him get rolled up in that divisional round against the Jaguars. He wasn't really able to do anything, couldn't get out of the pocket, couldn't really put much weight on it either. But he has practiced all week, no limp in his walk, no boot, and he looks like he's going to be pretty close to 100%. Now, I'm sure it's not going to feel great, but he looks okay, and the line reflects that in Vegas. This line has been all over the place, opened with the Chiefs as a heavy favorite, moved up to the Bengals as a nice favorite. Now it's back to the Chiefs as a favorite. That tells us people are really confident in Mahomes' ankle, and that's where Mahomes makes his magic, is his ability to move in the pocket, create plays, get guys, make defensive lines miss, and create huge opportunities for this offense. Now, the Chiefs don't do a really good job running the football, really at all. Neither of these teams are very good at running the football, so they are so quarterback reliant. Now, Mahomes has a hose. We know he can sling the rock, and if he has to become a pocket passer this weekend, I think he has the ability to do it. Chiefs offensive line second in sacks given up. Now, is that a matter of Mahomes avoids getting sacked because he's a monster, or is the Chiefs O-line really that solid, it's hard to necessarily say. I think Andy Reid's going to do a much better job of having plays called that don't necessarily rely on Mahomes moving around and creating that extra time, because I know that's built into the offense. They plan on that shit. So I think they're going to have much more of a shot back passer type of game plan going. A lot of quick stuff, a lot of screens, a lot of creative routes. I really trust Andy Reid in this spot. The question on the other side, though, is can the Chiefs defense do anything about this Bengals offense? Bengals, another team, like I said, they don't really run the football, but they've had their most success when they can run the football. They ran the football very well against Buffalo last weekend, and that's a game they dominated from start to finish. Joe Burrow is an absolute madman at quarterback. He's won his first 3 road playoff starts. Both these quarterbacks, every year since becoming the starter, playing the full season, they've made it to the AFC title game. So these are 2 absolute dogs at quarterback. And Burrow breeds, he bleeds the confidence. He is absolutely out of his mind. I'd be terrified of giving Joe Burrow any bulletin board material like the Chiefs had this weekend. He's got that guy. He loves playing as an underdog. He loves playing as a chip on his shoulder. He's 10-0 against the spread as an underdog his last 10 games. They love being underdogs. I think he's 7-3 straight up in those games. So they do a really good job of playing that villain underdog role. But the passing game is key in this. The Chiefs secondary is absolutely atrocious. They get toasted more than anybody. They're 31st in pass defense. That's a real problem. Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow averaging 200 yards against in their last 3 games against them. And Burrow is 3-0 as a starter against Mahomes and the Chiefs. That would not make me feel good if I'm a Kansas City fan. They seem to have their number, kind of like how Mahomes has had Allen's number. Burrow has had Mahomes' number, which isn't good, because if this team's getting their passing attack going, there's so many weapons to deal with. They got Chase, they got Higgins, they got Boyd. The question is now, Hayden Hurst, their tight end, has come on really big late. He's got a little bit of an injury going on this week, so he's a little bit nicked up. It's not good. Now, the Bengals are down 3 starting offensive linemen. This was the problem last year in the playoffs, and it's been okay this year. They really got the offensive line figured out, but the last few weeks they've been without 3 starters. 2 of them have been questionable to play. Alex Kappa, Jonah Williams, both out the last 2 weeks. So it's really tough for them, because the Chiefs up the middle are frightening. Chris Jones is the best interior defensive lineman in the league right now. When Aaron Donald's not playing, it's Chris Jones. The problem is he also doesn't have a playoff sack in 14 playoff games. So it's something weird that he isn't able to get quarterback sacks. A guy who's one of the best quarterback pass rushers in the interior D-line struggles with this. It's really weird that he struggles with it. But the Bengals are weaker on the interior. They're not great on the offensive line. This could wreak havoc for the Bengals. Joe Burrow's going to have to move. He's going to have to create plays, but Burrow is really good at getting the football out fast. Got a quick release. He's second in the NFL in release time, only behind the old man Tom Brady, who we know is in and out like that. So that's where Burrow's really stepped his game up. It's a really interesting matchup here, because can the Chiefs offense overcome their bad defense against a very good Bengals defense we haven't talked about? They're a no-name defense. I mean, can anybody really name a guy on this Bengals defense? No, there's no massive star on there, but they are absolutely awesome all around. They're one of the best second half defenses in football, if not the best. They absolutely shut people down in the second half. They don't give up big plays. They force turnovers. They get after quarterbacks. They make life difficult. It's a really amazing how good this defense is, and they're absolutely not talked about. If I'm Kansas City, I'm looking at like, can my defense just slow down this Bengals offense enough to give us a chance to convert on this tough Bengals defense? I think this is going to be a lot lower scoring of a game than most people are predicting. I just don't know how I feel about this. There's been so much bulletin board material. These are 2 quarterbacks that's like, I don't want to poke the bear. Why would you give Mahomes anything? Why would you give Burrow everything? And everyone's like, oh, that doesn't change anything. Bullshit. It absolutely changes stuff. When you get that little extra, you need that little extra chip. It just turns it on for them. I think this is going to be a fantastic game. The one real stat I'd be also very concerned with if I'm Kansas City is their inability to do anything on third down and the red zone on defense. Bengals and Chiefs are both 2 of the best red zone and third down offenses, but the defense for Kansas City is not good at all in those situations. Bengals defense, pretty solid. So these are going to be the big spots. Can the Chiefs keep the Bengals off the field, and can they get 7s instead of 3s, and vice versa? Can the Bengals keep Mahomes on the bench, and can they get 7s instead of 3s versus a really weak defense in those spots? That's a big edge for the Bengals, I think. And now 14, I think, 7 straight, 8 straight AFC Championship games have been a rematch of a regular season matchup from that season. And 7 times the team that won in the regular season won the rematch. Only once did the rematch go to the other team. The Titans against the Chiefs in the AFC title game 3 years ago now. Titans beat them in the regular season. Chiefs obviously took care of them, went on to the Super Bowl. So really, really tough stat for the Chiefs. I really like Mahomes. I've had the Chiefs most of this season as my Super Bowl pick. I just think the Bengals are playing the best ball right now. This is a very complete football team. They are super confident. They are super fired up. They're a very good squad. And Joe Burrow is one of the best in the biz. I think it's just a little bit too much for the Chiefs to handle. They need to get some more help on the defense. Mahomes is a little banged up, and they do not have a top receiver. Their receivers are okay. They obviously have Travis Kelce, who's like a top receiver, but that's an easier position, I think, to just take away and force MVS or Juju to beat you. I'm okay with that. If you're going to force those two guys to beat you, let them beat you. So I'm going to go with the Bengals here in an epic matchup. I think they just get this thing done. They win in Arrowhead again, and now we have a real controversy on our hands. Talking like, Ken Mahomes, is he owned by Burrow? He'll be 0-4 against them. It would be a lot of great headlines. I'm going to go with the Bengals. I'm going to go with the Eagles to be matching up in Super Bowl 57 in Arizona in 2 weeks. It should be a lot of fun this weekend. It's been an absolutely great NFL season, but let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Where am I on? Where am I off? What do you think's going to happen? Who's heading to Arizona? Again, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share this video with your friends, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.